Alright, and welcome to FRACKiT. This week, Wolf versus
KiraMK2.
Now this is part 2 of the episode. I did a couple of weeks ago, but they'll both be uploaded at once. Okay, a few weeks ago I lent you my PSP along with a shit ton of comics.
Yep.
Just go through a run through of what you've read so far.
I've read through the Spider-Man Back in Black series, I've read through the Civil War series, I've read Old Man Logan, I've read the X-Men First Edition one, which I can't remember the name of.
That's Giant Size X-Men 1
Yep.
and I think it's Uncanny X-Men 1 through 6.
It is Uncanny X-Men, yeah. I read some of House of M. What else have I read? I've read the Birth of Venom.
Yep, the Birth of Venom. Spider-Man. What's that one called? A Brand New Day? Not A Brand New Day.
Brand New Life.
It's something like that. It's not a. I don't think it's a brand. One moment in. It's not One Moment in Time. It's something like that.
It's something along those lines. Bloody hell! What else have I read?
In the last one we went through, you read Ultimates.
Yeah.
Sex and Violence and all those ones.
Yep.
So, go for it with the recent ones. Where's your knowledge at the moment?
Right.
There's a little challenge at the end of it.
My knowledge at the minute is the X-Men. It seems to be what I considered as the X-Men just being the X-Men with Cyclops, Storm, Wolverine and all of that. It's not. You've got what they are considered as the new X-Men, because reading through the Uncanny X-Men, it tells you that there was a bunch of old X-Men as well, and with the Uncanny X-Men you've also not just got the fact of it being Cyclops, Storm, Jean, Professor X and all of that. You've got Thunderbird and
Nightcrawler? Crawler?
Oh yeah, Nightcrawler, yeah.
Colossus. And Banshee.
Yeah. And what the
Thunderbird, yeah.
Who unfortunately dies.
Trust me, it's 70 years ago. It's like 40 years ago. It's not a spoiler.
Right.
That was quite weird, cool, all the way they built the team, and then it's like boom, kill him.
Yeah.
Off.
But I loved the way though within the story, because he was an Apache, he felt like he needed to be sort of like the dominatrix of it, which was a little unexpected for me, because with reading like newer versions of the X-Men and seeing Wolverine, you'd have thought, well, Wolverine should really be like the main man, and then it turns out that this guy wants to be the main man and basically just goes and gets himself fucking blown up, trying to save the day. But reading through the Uncanny X-Men and having not seen like the Sentinels before, when you're reading it, and the like, X-Men were like, oh shit, it's the fucking Sentinels. I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute, it's the Sentinels, what's this about? And you're reading through and you realise that they are the bastards towards the X-Men. But as I got towards the end, literally like this morning, reading it, and I'm seeing shit like, Cyclops has got a brother called Havoc, and it's sort of like it's a pre-Civil War comic, Civil War between the X-Men, not the X-Men and the Avengers and all of that, because you've got
the old school class, which was Polaris, Havoc, and obviously you had Jean, Beast and Iceman.
Yeah.
Because I'll just fill you in. The original class of X-Men, X-Men #1, the original, was Cyclops, Jean, Beast, Iceman, Professor X. I think that's it. I don't think I'm missing anyone out there.
Yeah.
And then they added Polaris and Havoc later on.
Yeah.
And then as soon as this came, it was like all the old characters out the window other than Cyclops.
Yeah.
And we get a brand new team, and that issue is really cool because it's the first time all of them had actually. You'd never really seen good mutants fighting each other.
Yeah.
You'd never really seen that before.
Well, bearing in mind what you just said then, the last, I think it's like the second to last, like mini comic within the giant sized, or the last one, you've got all the old X-Men as in the comic it says that they were Sentinels, but more robot versions of the original X-Men. And obviously they both fight each other, and they both like both sides, the new X-Men and the old X-Men that are boss are fighting, and it's because of Wolverine that they realise that they're not actually the real X-Men. It's what's it, Lang? Is it Professor Lang? I think it's Professor Lang. Is made it so that they are his Project Armageddon. And obviously, when I'm reading through it, and he's took over like this fucking like missile silo thing, I'm thinking, oh, it's like it's going to Project Armageddon, nuclear missiles and fucking shit like that. And it turns out that it's just, you know, this group of X-Men. And it didn't twig until I was actually reading it that it was like the Project Armageddon was actually the end of the X-Men's world instead of the end of the actual world. Yeah. So it's sort of misleading, but it gets you back on track.
It's also that which, obviously, whenever we read comics or you watch films, it's always the world. It's all, but back then, they could it's not getting away. It's back then, the end of it would be killing off the X-Men. They didn't need to have the whole world at stake every time like they do a lot of the time now. All the world's going to go to hell. Now the self-contained ones are so fun because nothing else is at stake. It's just all on them.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the Uncanny X-Men.
And here's one thing I love about the Uncanny X-Men, especially giant sized. Did you notice the international flavour of the team compared to the original? You have Storm, African, Wolverine, Canadian, Nightcrawler, German, Colossus, Russian, Banshee, Irish, and the original X-Men, all American. Yeah, that was Chris Claremont's doing. He wanted a much more international.
I should have noticed that, because when I was reading it again this morning, when they're just on the way, when the news reporters just giving a bit about them all going up into space to try and stop this Project Armageddon, it says actually in one of the bubbles about it being international, interracial, intersexual and all of this. Yeah. So I should have noticed that, but it didn't twig. But it's enough for the Uncanny X-Men. Another one I forgot to mention that I have read as well, Iron Man
Extremis, yes.
Fucking brilliant, right? I'll get straight onto that one since that's just come into my head. I loved it. I seriously
Christmas present then?
Yeah, fucking great Christmas present. Absolutely bummed over it. Basically, the storyline. At first I found it a little hard to follow, but after I started reading it, I picked up the pace and got into it. And basically, I don't know how the hell you pronounce it, Extremis or Extremis, whatever. It's like this little vial of.
It's basically
it's like super serum.
Super soldier serum, exactly what I was going to say. It's like that, but it's basically Captain America serum gone wrong. Yeah. They haven't been able to refine it, and it fucks you up. You almost look like a zombie at the end of it. Yeah. But it's a very cool. Which
you can see in the comic book, because you can't call them terrorists. Just basically it's a group of punk fucking arsewipes managed to grab a hold of this vial of this extremis, whatever, and excuse me, and they give it this guy who obviously was willing to take it. And as you're reading through, you see like the guy developing. He's like, his skin just like melts off, and he becomes all this like fucking, like Wolfzero said, grim looking bastard zombified dude basically.
And the artwork definitely does it amazing justice, especially when he's in the hold and he's throwing up blood. That was one of the most striking images in it.
And then obviously he becomes alright, and he can like breathe fire and shit like that. So he launches like havoc in a subway, if my memory serves me right. It's in a subway or something. And obviously Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, goes, sorts it out, gets the shit kicked out of him. And then after that sort of action bit, you're reading through it and it's talking about the story of how Iron Man goes around trying to figure out a way of how to, defeat this guy. And cut a long story short, basically, Iron Man gets injected with the extremis serum, which makes him zombified, but don't make him so he can breathe fire or anything, because he's managed to reconfigure it so that it's got just, you know, what he needs, extra strength and stuff like that to kick this guy's ass. And final battle thing between him and this, between Iron Man and this original dude that took it, takes place on, I might be getting mixed up, but I think it takes place on a bridge type thing. And basically Iron Man kicks his ass, and yeah, I really liked it.
I'm not really a huge fan of Iron Man, so I didn't enjoy it that much. But I love, finally, after all these years, them making Iron Man a full superhero. Like I said, when he took the virus, it wasn't that it was going to make him fucking Superman.
Yeah.
It was to help him basically become Iron Man.
Yeah.
His reaction time would be up. No one else could put an Iron Man suit on and do the things he does.
Yeah.
That was the point of it, and I enjoyed that. They finally gave him some backbone, because at the end of the day, anyone who puts that suit on is Iron Man.
Yeah.
But after that story, you're not talking about
that depends, because in was it Oh Man Logan? In one of the comics that I've read, someone puts on, I think it might actually be Old Man Logan, because it's got Mr. Skull, something like that.
Yeah, the Red Skull.
Yeah, the Red Skull.
Yeah, Wolverine puts the armour on at the end and flies out.
You can't say that Wolverine then becomes Iron Man.
No, he's just using the boosters. But basically, if you're in an Iron Man suit, that's Iron Man. All the powers are contained within the suit and not within him. But now they're not. Now he is Iron Man.
Yeah. So anyway, Old Man Logan, fucking loved it, because it's
amazing.
It showed, like, obviously it's a massive time jump from.
A little bit back to it. It's a completely Elseworlds tale. It doesn't take place in any continuity. It's just a standalone tale.
Yeah.
And the gist of it is, what if every superhero has, say, they probably have between 20 and 30 villains of varying terror and threat. What if someone organised them all together? You'd have an insane army that no superhero could stop. Yeah.
But in this one, Wolverine, it's showing him as an older bloke. He's got a wife, he's got kids, and he's not forgot, but he's pushed away his Wolverine side. So now he is just Logan, and Spider-Man's
granddaughter.
No, the dude is his grandfather, isn't it?
Oh no!
Or is that Spider-Man?
No, the old man.
Yeah.
That's Hawkeye. And Hawkeye's daughter, Hawkeye got with. I don't know if it's his granddaughter or his daughter, but it's Peter Parker's descendant.
Yeah.
Whoever Peter Parker had a kid, and his daughter had that young Spider Girl.
Right. So, okay. So it's Hawkeye. Right.
It's Hawkeye's grandchild and Spider-Man's grandchild.
Right. So Hawkeye and Wolverine. Hawkeye basically wants Wolverine to help him along, because Hawkeye's obviously blind, with some sort of smuggling thing, and straight off I'm thinking, right, drugs, or something to do with not super serum, but some sort of shit that will help mutants, let's say. And going along through the story, and basically it turns out that Peter Parker's daughter, or whatever she is, has been kidnapped, and she's locked up and shit like that. And again, cutting his long story short, Wolverine has now abolished his ways. He doesn't kill, he doesn't draw his claws anymore, but he ends up having to kill, but he doesn't agree with it.
He doesn't use his claws at all.
Yeah.
Because you've got to remember, Wolverine's dangerous on his own. He doesn't need claws to kill you.
Yeah.
And even though he does kill at various stages of it, it's always, he never pops them, they never come out, he never slices anyone up, which is a great thing. And in that sequence, the rescuing Spider-Girl, I guess you'd call her, and there's a great twist when you finally get to her.
Yeah. Wolverine and Hawkeye essentially rescue her, right, and kill whatever the fuck that black guy was called.
Kingpin.
Is it
the new Kingpin? He wasn't. He's obviously not the
Yeah,
original.
yeah, he's not. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
not
he was Kingpin. Yeah, yeah. So they kill Kingpin, rescue Spider Girl, and the twist is that I completely did not expect. I just expected to be all like, oh yeah, you've rescued me. Like, oh, let's go home and have like a cup of tea. She turns around and she like goes to kill Hawkeye, and Wolverine's still sat in this fucking spider buggy, and Wolverine's seen it happen, and he's like, you know, like, we're not having that shit. Fucking rams through him and rescues Hawkeye and drives out, and Spider Girl's all like, well, what, don't just fucking stand there, you know, get after him type thing. And I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute, not skipping pages but fucking flicking pages like at the speed of light. Fucking brilliant. I loved it.
What do you think of the ending?
With
the first one with the Red Skull, the first ending, because obviously you had the giant size, which was the next one.
I can't remember the fucking ending.
Where it's Wolverine and the Red Skull, and the Red Skull's got all the trophies of all the fallen heroes.
Oh yeah, I found that kind of weird.
I enjoyed that.
I liked it, but it was weird though, because with Cap America and like all the other Avengers and whatnot, because obviously he's got Captain Avengers, duh.
Oh,
Captain
new superhero.
Oh yeah,
Captain Avenger.
Sorry.
He's got the shield. He's got Iron Man's armor. He's got the thing, which made me piss when I saw it.
Yeah. But no, I really liked it, and obviously then following on from that, Wolverine does kill him a Red Skull?
Takes his head off with a Captain America shield.
So he does, yes. And obviously then, what we were talking about before, Wolverine takes Iron Man's suit and
flies home,
yeah. So overall, I liked Old Man Logan, really good.
Did you read the giant size one at the end? With the Hulk?
I didn't know.
Alright, you're going to have to get back. That's the official last issue.
Right.
It's giant size Old Man Logan. Get it from somewhere, get it online, do what you can.
Yeah.
Read that one, because that's the official end of the story.
Right.
And that's amazing.
Will do. But I like the way as well that America... Was it America?
Yeah, divided up against all the heroes.
It was really, really clever.
I want to know why the fuck Magneto wanted Vegas.
Oh,
that was just it. Magneto wants Nevada, he wants Vegas.
Yeah. Talking of Magneto, House of M. I read that as well. I've read partial of that, and it seemed really. It seems really interesting, because obviously when you first talked to me about it, House of M, the first thing that I thought of was it was like Magneto. So it was about Magneto. It turns out it is, but it isn't. The House of M isn't.
Magneto isn't the focal point of it at all.
Yeah.
And I love after the first issue, what happened is Scarlet Witch, who has recently lost children with, I think it's the Vision, her husband's called, I think he's dead as well.
Yeah.
She gets so distraught, she changes the universe.
Yeah, she can change the world. And
it turns out, she reverses it, humans are the minority.
Yeah.
And every mutant on the planet gets whatever he or she ever wanted in life.
Yeah. Yep, I got up to that, yeah. But he starts off, she's changed the universe so that she's got her kids and everything, and she's talking to
Professor X.
Yep. And he's saying, you know, it's not real, everything, change it back. And obviously she's all dead distraught and stuff like that. And it cuts on to the Avengers and the X-Men, and talking about, you know, what they should do about her because she's such a threat, and they're all like voting like kill her and shit.
Which Wolverine and the classic moment.
Yeah.
Kill her.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's, Spider-Man. We can't kill her. If my powers went out of whack, would you kill me in a heartbeat?
Yeah. Wolverine saying, I hope you do the same for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, I don't know if they did kill her or not, because I didn't get that far. But I don't want to spoil.
No, I'm not spoiling. They go to kill her. They go to finish her off, and that's when the world changes.
Yeah, they did, because she, from wherever she is, she gives like Wolfzero says, she makes it so that every mutant gets what they want. So Wolverine gets back his memories.
Yeah, which was the downfall. That's kind of the downfall. They're giving back every memory he ever wanted.
Yeah.
But he also gets with Mystique, which was a very strange one.
Yeah.
And you also get, like, I know you haven't read that far, but you get Peter Parker. He lives with Gwen Stacy, his original love.
Yeah.
That's key to it. Captain America never came back from the war. He did the war, came home, never got frozen. So he's an old man. Yeah. There's loads of great ones like Scott and Emma from the X-Men. They get married. Yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah, they find that kid as well. And because they've all got like the memories back.
Yeah, that kid's mutant power is recalling their memories, isn't it?
There's one memory that's like, I didn't twig on what it was, but it was summer and all the X-Men and the Avengers didn't know about it, and this kid basically makes them remember it, and they're all like, oh my god, you know, this really happened. Obviously I wanted to read on, but didn't get the chance to, so that's where I ended.
Well, definitely follow up on that, because that has one of the it's just got an amazing ending. It's a great story. Alright, let's move on to Civil War, the cornerstone. That happened a few years ago and was a fucking massive event. Yeah. It encapsulated every title. You had the X-Men in it you had the original limited series, Civil War, then you had the X-Men Civil War titles, where they basically did fuck all, really. Yeah. And then, obviously, you read the main series. What do you think of that?
I loved it. Absolutely fucking loved it. It was a six issue.
I think it was 6 or 7 issues it was.
Yeah. And obviously you think 6, 7 issues, you're going to get bored about halfway through. I didn't. It was fucking brilliant. Because you got the story, it gave you a storyline behind like what was happening. And then you're reading through it and it's sort of the US government wanted it so that the Avengers,
it's every hero, every metahuman, every mutant gets registered. The powers are registered, and anyone who wants to be a hero has to basically go through training. It's kind of like there's a similar story in the X-Men years ago called the Mutant Registration Act. They wanted every mutant signed up, telling what you can do and where you live, and they fought to abolish it. But this is kind of a similar story for the superheroes, for like the Avengers and stuff like that. And you have to fall on one side, and it comes down between Iron Man or Cap America.
Yeah. It's taking a quote from the actual Civil War comic. They basically wanted them to be cops with masks. Yeah. And you're reading through it, and it goes on, and the Civil War basically kickstarts because, as you say, Iron Man. No, not Iron Man. Yeah, it is Iron Man. Iron Man and Cap America. I've split views about it. Iron Man's all up for it, and he gets Spider-Man on board with it, which I'm going to talk about that bit in a minute because that was really good, and I like that bit I'm going to say about. And Cap America's like proper against it and everything.
It's kind of good that they got the views as well, because Iron Man would be for it, because everyone knows who Iron Man is. Yeah. You know, he knows you can live with people knowing your identity. Yeah. But Cap America's like, oh no, we need secrecy. It's evading our civil rights and all that. But I was on Iron Man's side for most of it. Yeah.
I was more towards Cap America's, just simply because they've been masked for ages. You know, you have to have a certain amount of privacy in your life, and I can understand, you know, why the government and everything would want it. But if it was like, you know, with Spider-Man, like back in the day, where it was like, oh, he's this mass villain and everything, I can understand it if it's like, oh, but now everyone knows that Spider-Man's, you know, out for the good and all this bollocks. But I didn't understand it. But with the story of the Civil War, Iron Man like gets Spider-Man on his side for part of the story, and gets Peter Parker to unmask himself publicly, which he does, which leads to someone.
Leads to back in black, the story when it finishes.
It does, yeah.
Someone shooting Aunt May.
Yeah, I just realised that, fucking hell, yeah. But and back on Civil War, it goes along, there's obviously Civil War between Cap America, who gets Spider-Man on his side, and Iron Man, and basically at the end it's just Iron Man and Cap America face to face against each other, and I can't remember who.
And after they see all the destruction they cause, 'cause it's basically one team of superheroes against the other, and New York's getting trashed, and as Iron Man and Captain America are tearing chunks out of each other, Captain America looks around and realised he caused it, it's his fault.
Yeah.
So he gives up in the end.
Yeah.
And that gave birth to the Secret Avengers, which I haven't read yet. That's basically, at the end of it, they all get split up into like West Coast Avengers and all these, which is quite cool having a superhero team for each town.
Yeah.
But with Captain America and his side, all of them, they become the Secret Avengers, and they're like the underground movement.
Yeah. From Civil War, then I better carry on to Back in Black,
which is a fucking, I told you, that was one
really
possibly my favourite Spider-Man story. That.
Yeah. Like you say, sorry. It starts off, like you say, someone's hunting Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker, and Aunt May gets shot by a hired assassin, let's say, and it's basically Spider-Man is then looking for vengeance, he goes about trying to find out who's gunning for him, who's shot Aunt May, and it comes about that he becomes more thuggish and he breaks his own rules, because in the comic book it says that he'd never done anything illegal, he'd not killed anyone or anything like that.
Starts getting a lot more aggressive.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what the black suit represents in a way, because when he first had that black suit, it was an alien symbiote.
Yeah.
I saw him in Birth of Venom.
Yep.
He gets angrier, more violent when that suit was on him. So as I said at the start of the book, I kept it up here when I kept the suit hidden. Yeah. For when I wanted to send that message, and that's why he wears a black costume. It's not the symbiote; it's just a black costume.
Yeah. So like I say, he's going about, he's looking for vengeance, eventually finds out who it was, obviously kicks 10 living shit out of him, but he also meets, if I'm right, Ezekiel.
Yeah, Ezekiel.
Who is a complete doppelganger of Peter Parker. But the thing that I didn't quite get was how the hell Ezekiel... And again, it's just twigged. Ezekiel must have seen Peter Parker, Spider-Man unmasking in Civil War. Yeah, it makes sense. Ezekiel saw the unmasking and then went...
It's cool when you make the connections, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really
I can see you going from that Back in Black, and now you're onto the story after it, which is actually the one we can't remember.
Yeah, and Ezekiel finds him and he's saying, that he's exactly like him and stuff like that, and turns out Ezekiel has built a like a nuclear bunker, but not a nuclear bunker, for Spider-Man, where he can never be detected or anything, never be found or anything like that. And Peter's like, well, what about Aunt May, what about Mary Jane and all this, and he basically declines the offer of the bunker
and attempts to fight the very vicious enemy that's coming to kill him.
Yep, and fails.
I like the fact in that he's always wounded.
Yeah.
It never in each comic it doesn't revert to him being back at full health. From the moment he gets twatted, it's him running away, him injured. And then even in the last fight, he's injured, he's wounded.
Yeah. I was bastard, I'm trying to think and I'm getting it mixed up with the fucking film, The Amazing Spider-Man.
It basically ends with Ezekiel sacrificing himself to save Spider-Man.
Yeah. Let's cut that one short.
Yeah. And Spider-Man fucks up that dude, whatever his name is. But yeah, see, that's why I lent you those books, because they're like, it's almost subliminal the way you twigged from Civil War to Back in Black, and then to, I can't remember what the fucking book's called, but that other book I gave you just twigged from each one.
Yeah.
It was fucking awesome, because that's what they're for. It's a shared continuity. Once you start putting the pieces together, you start realising that goes there, that goes there.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to build up in the end, where you have a good knowledge of it, so you can pick up any book and go, alright, that falls there.
Yeah.
Now I can do it with any of the Marvel Universe at the minute.
Yeah.
I'm attempting to do it with DC, which is a whole other fucking ball game.
Yeah. So, where to now?
Where to now? Well, we've gone through quite a bit of those ones. You've got the Wolverine miniseries to read yet.
Yeah.
The 4 issue. You'll love that one. You've read quite a bit. Tell me what you want to do next. Is there anything I can help you with? Any comics you want to get into? Because you've read quite a lot now.
Yeah.
So you can really just go out, and if I've got anything I can give you, I'll lend them to you that you want to read.
Oh, I've got banged into the X-Men both. I want to get more into the old side of the X-Men, just to find out what the backstory is with that, what happened to them, for them to become like the new X-Men and stuff like that. Yep.
There's a lot of old issues. The old issues, like they're collected frequently, like X-Men Real #1, the one from the 60s.
Yeah.
If you want to learn that original team, you can find them quite easily, and they're quite cheap. Those comics, not the actual ones, but the reprints or reissues. There's actually a X-Men omnibus, which is X-Men #1, all the way up to Giant Size X-Men.
Right.
So just check those out. I've got a couple of them. I'll lend them to you.
Yep.
And after, obviously, we talked about this before. Uncanny X-Men. We've got. Basically, the next major arc, the Phoenix Saga. That's the next one I'll give you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that one. Yep, so I've got the old X-Men. I'm sort of unsure about Spider-Man. I do want to get into it, but I don't, because it's been made into a film, and now they're remaking the films. So it's confusion between the films and the comic books, which I don't like. But I'd like to get into reading the Spider-Man comics.
With Spider-Man, I've got a few titles you can read which are really, really good.
Yeah.
And it's just pick and choose with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's not a main one for me anyway, because it's Spider-Man. But there are some really good tales of it. And I'd say take that approach with Spider-Man, just like, if you like it, get it. But I wouldn't follow it long term, because it's peaks and valleys. It's always up and down, Spider-Man. You never know where it is at any one point.
Yeah.
Like now, currently, Spider-Man's dead, Peter Parker's dead, and Otto Octavius is in his body. It's kind of interesting, because what happened was Octavius created a device to switch bodies with Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And he's dying, that's why he's done it. So Peter Parker's in Octavius' body half dead.
Yeah.
And it ends up leading up to Peter Parker dying in that body. And Octavius seeing the sacrifice that he made, saying, alright, I'm going to be a better Spider-Man than he could ever be.
Right.
It's quite interesting at the minute.
That sounds pretty cool, though.
So it's still obviously Peter Parker's up, but it's Doc Ock inside.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where they're going with it. It's pretty interesting, but as long as they don't drop the ball, I think that'd be real good. And there's another one as well, Ultimate Spider-Man, you might like.
Yeah.
That's part of the Ultimate Universe with, like the Ultimates and stuff like that. And it starts from a blank sheet. You can still get issue 1, you can still start at the very beginning, which started 10 years ago. Wow. And it's a very clean sheet, basically. You don't need to worry about mixing up where it happens, because you can start from day 1 and go forward.
Yeah.
And with the X-Men, I can give you a million X-Men.
Yeah.
I know there's plenty I can give you. I think I might even give you some from the 90s, because that's when everyone fell in love with the X-Men. I've got a lot of tales from there.
Yeah.
Like, I can give you there's a good Apocalypse story with the X-Men called, what's it called? The 9, I think it's called, where he gathers all the most powerful psychics in the world. Yeah. And that leads on to New X-Men.
Right.
I'll have a look around, I might give you those ones. But Dark Phoenix is next. I'll have a look for some Spider-Man.
Yep.
Any other characters that you've found?
No, not really. I just need to finish House of M. Got the Spider-Man one. You lend me as well. Not Spider-Man one.
X-Men.
Wolverine one.
Wolverine.
One to read as well. So I'm going to read that. I'm going to finish House of M, and then I'll crack on with Dark Phoenix.
Woohoo! You've got plenty there.
Yeah, I know.
And like I said, you're getting into it, you're starting to use your terminology and actually start talking back to me. That's, like I said to AJ the same thing when I was talking to him. My goal is for you to start talking more back at me.
Yeah.
Like I say, oh, Wolverine will fuck anyone up. You'll go, no, we'll fuck everyone. You know,
yeah.
So I get a proper debate going. Because it's always good when someone comes up to you and goes, fucking read this.
Yeah.
It's a cracking book. Or it's a shit book and you go, fucking hell, I taught you better than this.
Yeah.
You know, but it's good to get the whole gist of it and people come up to you and do stuff. Because my mate said, you've read a lot of comics. I went, I know I fucking have, but you know how many are fucking out there that I one, don't know about, never knew existed. There's X-Men tales I don't know about, even though I've read most of it.
Recently you've borrowed a fair few from the college library.
Yeah.
Did you borrow The Watchmen?
No, I didn't borrow.
No, you didn't borrow.
I've already read The Watchmen plenty of times.
Well, we've already had a bit of a discussion about that one, so we won't go on to that. You've read that Sandman one?
Not yet.
No.
I haven't read the Sandman one. I read the X-Men Volume 10, Ultimate X-Men. That is fucking cracking.
Is it?
It's kind of bittersweet because I know what happens in it. Because in the Ultimate Universe, obviously we've been through this a million times. It's a clean slate and all that. Gambit is in it, and he was one of my favourite characters in the 90s, and kind of is still today, but they haven't done anything with him in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But in the Ultimate Universe, they bring him back as, you know, just a badass thief like he always was.
Yeah.
And he comes into it, basically kidnaps Rogue,
Yeah.
which I'm like, fucking hell, because in X-Men, Rogue's going out with Iceman.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. You know, it's something they've taken from the films, and I don't like it when the films manipulate the comics. I prefer it the other way around.
Yeah.
But basically, he robs Rogue, takes her to this place to control the powers, and they basically fall in love, and it's that little tale, and it ends with Gambit and Rogue. They're all happy and everything.
Yeah.
And then the Juggernaut has to be around, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And Gambit protects her from the Juggernaut, gets fucking mortally wounded, and he's lay there dying. So Rogue kisses him goodbye, and with his last of his strength, he grabs her and holds on to her.
Yeah.
So in essence, finishes him off.
Right.
But it takes away her powers and replaced with his. So
Right.
permanently at this point, I don't know if they stay, but she's got his powers from then on.
Yeah.
Which is a fucking great little thing, because they've killed Gambit off, he's not coming back.
Yeah.
But he's still there, which is fucking awesome.
Sounds good. I'll have to get that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. But Stephen's got it. That's another one I can give you. I know you like the Ultimates. I'll get X-Men #1, Ultimate X-Men. Me told him I've got. Stephen's still got it. I'll get it off him, and you can start with that one. That's a really good one.
Alright.
It basically shows the difference between the characters. Like Magneto is pure fucking evil in it.
Yeah.
He's a fucking bastard, but he's great. He's fucking amazing. And you've got Wolverine, who is always a badass, but he's a bit more, because you don't know anything about him. He's just an assassin. He's an assassin for Magneto. That's his backstory. It's fucking great.
Sweet.
But yeah, I'll have to get that off Steve and I'll lend you that one. But we'll start with the Dark Phoenix, because that is the premier X-Men story, as many nerds will tell you.
Yep.
Alright, I think that's enough for this week. Alright, well, we'll probably do this again, do another part 3 of this in a few weeks' time, maybe after the deadline and that.
Yeah.
And over the reading week, I'll throw you a couple more just so you got something to read.
Right.
Alright, and it's goodbye from me.